there's a word you keep using, right? So like you put out your newsletter, you put out your podcast, you go to all these meetings and conferences and you're heavily involved in the industry back home. You keep using this term passion.
Yeah.
We have to have a passion for the industry. We have to have a passion for what we're doing. And I really dig that. And I want to know what you mean by it. I want you to drill down into what passion means to you, why you started using that particular term, and sort of where it fits into like your project.
Okay. Well, it's funny because it actually goes back to my teenage years. But to give you an example, my wife, who we just celebrated 25 years this year, we met. We were at the same company. We were at a chemical company. She worked in customer service. I was one of the drivers on the fleet. And other than, daily life, I probably never really talked about trucking other than, here's what I'm doing this week, or here's my run, or whatever it is. Since I've stopped driving, I've attended almost every truck show I can. I'm really into the events. And she goes, all you do is talk about trucks and trucking. And she goes, I never knew that for the first, 10 years we were together or something like that. So the passion actually starts from my childhood. So I came from a family that my dad, they're from Guyana. So they were immigrant. They came up to Canada the year before I was born. I was born in Canada. But my dad was an accountant. My mom worked for the airline. There's no trucking, not like your family where your dad was a trucker, all that stuff. There's no pre-trucking. I didn't even know what a truck was other than I used to throw snowballs at them when I was walking to school. That's about all I knew about trucking. But at 17, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I hated school. I'm an artist as well, and you know that. But nobody said, I used to draw on my notebooks. I'd get detention. Nobody said go to art school. I didn't know what I was going to do. I know I didn't want to be an accountant. I did not like classes. I would prefer to hang out in the parking lot with my friends in their cool cars than. So when I got a job, and I just got a job because I quit school, my dad said, you're not sitting, this is back when parents actually did parenting, and said, you're not sitting around all day while I go to work and your mom goes to work and think you're going to sit here on the couch, So he would actually take me to a coffee shop, drop me off. He said, you can't come home till 5 o'clock at night. Basically, like you. And he charged me rent the day I quit. He said, your rent's due on Monday. So I got a job at a moving company and fell into it. I was this size in high school, so I started moving furniture. And then I saw that the guy driving was the boss in a moving crew. The driver is the boss for the most part, and was lifting less because they're folding pads and getting paid more money. And I thought, that's interesting. And I liked the idea of going to different places every day and meeting different people. And I really excelled at that. Like I thought, wow, this is a kind of a cool job. I didn't know what I was getting into. Fast forward that, 40 years, and I'm going, and I don't know, do you know Chuck Snow at all, Gord? Do you know he owns Traffic's? He's retired now. He owns Traffic, but he's got a big old truck collection here. Have you probably met him at Matt's? He's always at Matt's, bald Jewish guy. but Chuck Snow and I did an interview, and he said the same thing. He said, where would I be if there wasn't for the trucking industry? And this is how I feel. If you look at the statistics, you drop out of high school, you're an artist, so you don't like to do anything, with structure, basically, is what they say. Where would I have been? Would I have been in jail? Would I have been? I could not think right now of another career I would have rather gone into other than being a professional artist, which I am in my other business. But other than that, I cannot think of. Like, I'm terrible at construction, so I'm not getting into that. I think of all the skilled trades. Finance, I can't stand working with numbers that way. Media wasn't around in 1975, so I didn't know you could be a podcaster. I didn't even think of broadcasting. Nobody suggested, radio DJs do pretty good. They got loud mouths. Nobody suggests. So I'm thinking, where would I have been? That's why, thank God for trucking. Thank God. Look at the life it's given me over the years. It's kept food and shelter for my family and myself. I've maybe not done some of the cool things you've done. I still want to go on a road train and all that, but I've worked for some pretty cool companies, had some pretty nice rides, seen the country. Made decent money, I feel, and I'm now using that expertise, hopefully, to help the future. And that's why I'm so passionate about it. Because, if we go to the truck shows, because the fleet that I was with is similar to the one that you and your dad worked for. Is like, You know, the people who actually took care of those rides and that professionalism of the industry is the way that I operated, the way that my friends that I respect, the way they operated. And I feel we've really lost that. That's been a big problem in this industry. I mean,